There you go.
There you
A little bit different than that menu thing I had on my shirt.
What was your favorite thing?
That one you all ready?
You guys all set back there? Yeah. Go.
Okay, first of all, very successful spring. Real happy with the guys. Go out there and make some plays. It was really neat. Appreciate our crowd. It was a great crowd. Our guys really responded well. I think we ran 101 plays. Offensively, we were able to push the ball down the field a little bit. Proud of the guys making plays down the field, able to mix in the run. Johnny Richardson's had a great spring. We held Bowser out. That was by design. We know exactly what we're going to get with him. And he had a great spring. Also, defensively did some really good things. The interception, Francois, he has a little bit of hamstring. I think he would have house called that thing if he didn't have that hamstring. With that, Landon Woodson had 3 sacks. We really focused on rushing the passer this spring, and there was some more sacks besides those 3. So I thought that was a real plus. I think both quarterbacks did some good things. There's nothing like getting out there in front of a crowd, and it's different. You can have a scrimmage when it's just a scrimmage only. You learn a lot, but when you get in front of the crowd, a lot of times it's a little different. And I thought both guys responded well. There's a couple things both of them could do better, but it was good, and it was good to get our young one in there and let him play some too. But overall, I don't think there was any. I know there were a few guys that went down. At this point, it doesn't look like anything serious, which is a blessing. You always stress about that being the last spring. Just looking, from this time last year, we're in a completely different spot. I told the guys just a second ago, we're in a super spot going into the summer, and got a real chance. Questions?
Chris, were you overall pleased with the just mentioned that you're overall pleased with how things have gone this spring and where you guys are at now overall after going through?
There's no doubt about that. I mean, just offensively, the expectations are a lot higher than they were at this time last year. They should be. We worked extremely hard on pushing the ball down the field. I believe we're going to be able to run the football against anybody, which is always something great. And we're just trying to put our quarterbacks in different situations too. And Mikey's a veteran guy. You can just tell his command. He's different than he was last year, and he should be. And then John Rice, each practice he's got more comfortable. Keep in mind he hadn't played quarterback in over a year, so each practice he's gotten better too. And so I think we're in a good spot, at the quarterback position. Defensively, like I said earlier, it's about putting pressure on the quarterback, and I feel like we improved, in that area as spring went on.
Coach, what did you make of the quarterback competition this spring between Mikey and John Rice, and where did you kind of leave it heading into the summer?
Yeah, we gave them equal reps with the 1s and 2s, and I know John Rice was the first one out. We actually flipped a coin who was going to be the first one out. Okay, so it wasn't any bigger than that. We're not in a position right now that we're going to name a starter tomorrow or anything, but I think we're in a super spot going into next season. Competition brings out the best in everyone, and a lot of times you also look and see how teammates respond, but both of them are highly respected because of the character they have and the talent they have.
Kobe Hudson had a pretty good afternoon. Looking overall at the spring, how do you feel like he mixed in with the wide receiver group?
Yeah, I mean, Kobe's a veteran guy. He led his team in receiving that before he transferred in. There's high expectations. Jalen Griffin, I know he didn't catch a touchdown, but he's had a very good spring too. So it was good to see those receivers make plays. Obviously, Jay Flash, looked like Jay Flash, a healthy Jay Flash. O'Keefe is always going to be able to make plays. As far as that goes, Amari Johnson made some plays, and he's improved, his down the field thing. So, our receivers did a solid job this spring.
Yes, can you just talk about John Rice and his, I think a lot of people thought, hey, he's just a runner, but the way he threw the ball today, and also people who might be discounting Mikey's chances.
Yeah. Well, I think both of those are legit. Like, John Rice, he's got a big time arm. And, you're just talking about a guy that hadn't played quarterback. And when he was a true freshman, their offense was designed to run the football. They didn't ask him to throw it. I recruited him hard out of high school. I knew exactly what we were going to get. He can flat out throw it. He throws a deep ball very well. And then Mikey's got a chip on his shoulder now. And Mikey is not the same Mikey was last year. Keep in mind, he led us to 9 games. We had a big bowl victory that he led us to. So we're in really good shape at the quarterback position, and I think nowadays, this day and time, you have to have 2. And right now, leaving spring, I can tell you we can win with both these guys. Matter of fact, we can win a lot of games with both of them, so it's a good feeling right now.
I guess you guys had to place a couple pieces on the offensive line, but what have you seen from that group, the line itself, and maybe the backups as well, maybe guys you've really rotated?
I think the biggest thing is we passed the eye test this year. I mean, we looked the part, we played the part, we're deep. The additions that we have, we've hit on every one of those guys we brought in, and Coach Hand has really rotated those guys and gave them different opportunities to play different positions. Obviously, Sam Jackson's a veteran guy. We strategically limited him somewhat this spring. Coach Dawson's done a great job in the weight room. The difference between this time, this year from last year is night and day, but we got a chance to be what I would say really good on the offensive line.
How do you feel about your depth overall? What did this spring show you about your depth?
Yeah, that's something you always look for in spring. You give everybody an opportunity. I always think there's a difference. There's depth and there's quality depth. And we're always talking to our guys about quality depth. Like, quality depth is that they're like another starter. And, you always are concerned about up front. That's where depth really shows in college football, offensive line, defensive line, and I think we have quality depth in both those areas. And that'll be big, especially if we have injuries and all that.
Coach, you've already mentioned night and day between last year and this year, and at this point you were kind of taking inventory, finding where to plug people, that sort of thing. Going into the next step of the program this year, what do you think is different between then and now, and what we're preparing for, and what will that look like?
Yeah, it's a player-led team. Last year the players were trying to figure out, us as coaches, they know the expectation, they know the standard. It's their team. We got great leaders. They're leading the way. If you come watch our practice, you'll hear the leaders just as much as the coaches, because once we get to Saturdays, they don't let the coaches on the field. And championship teams are player-led, and we're in really, really good hands with that.
I know you can't talk specifics, but a lot of recruits at the game. Just how was the buzz kind of this spring with recruiting?
Yeah, really good. And ever since the bowl win, it's been different. We're in the game with some guys that we may have not been in the game before, and I think the combination of the bowl win, the combination going to the Big 12, and it's just something about you can feel when you're here that we're about to do something special. And you feel it, and recruits feel it, and they feel it from our players, they feel it from our coaches, just everybody around. And everybody wants to dream, everybody wants to be a part of something special, and we're well on our way.
What did you think about the uniform idea, and where did that come from?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll take you back to last year. Okay, we put the Twitter handles on the back of their jersey. That was Coach Hand. Coach Hand's one of those smart guys. He thinks about a bunch of stuff that I don't think about, like he's on Twitter, all that stuff. And then this year it was SJ too. Of course, he's in that world, his family's in that world. And he said, hey, how about a barcode? And I said, you talking about that deal you do when you scan your menu at the restaurant? And he said, yeah. And so the more we thought about it, like, man, we're a school that's going to embrace the NIL. And that's just one more thing. So just trying to stay on the cutting edge, and a lot of these schools, different philosophies and all that, we're going to promote our players. And this place is going to be really the place to be in the future. You talk about 72,000 students, average age of our alumni is 36. It's going to be more and more social media driven. Then you think about Orlando, 2.5 million people, there's not an NFL team. What we got to do is we got to engage the rest of Orlando. They can be, fans of another team. But there's nothing like the hometown team. Now, we got to win. Everybody wants to be a part of winning. Everybody wants to be a part of something special. But I really believe everything's coming together. I think next year is a huge key in the big picture. If we can fast forward, if we can ever get to that point where we really win the national, where we win the national, do all that stuff, then it's going to really start, next year on the field. So that's what we're trying to do. That was just one thing. SJ had a great idea. I know our players loved it. And if our players love it, I love it. Now, it was a little bit weird for me having that little thing on there, but hey, if they like it, I like it.
Guys, you seem to take an opportunity during the year, or during the spring, to rest a lot of guys, give a lot of guys maybe reduce their workload. You talked about Isaiah and some of the other guys. Was that done by design? Is that something you always have done, or is that something you just...
Yeah, so we had a handful of guys that were trying to decide, do I go to the NFL or do I come back? And so if guys are like that, we're going to treat them like pros. And we're not going to beat them up. I mean, they've been here for 4 or 5 years of the grind and all that. We're going to treat them like pros. They're not going to have as many reps. They're going to be quality. We're going to take care of their body. We're going to do a little bit more nutrition-wise. We're going to do a little bit more yoga-wise, and just treat them like they're going to be pros. And that's what we did with our handful of guys. And my experience is, if you do that and you follow through with that, then they get to the field and they're healthier and they're better than they've ever been, and it helps their draft status. Well, then the next time a guy's trying to figure out, do I go to the NFL now or do I come back? They talk, and it'll be better for the future. So yes, I've done that before, and it's really been successful so far.
Coach, last year when Mikey took over as quarterback, how much of your offense did you have to sort of pull back because he was young, a true freshman, and how much more of your offense maybe will we see this year?
Yeah, it was quite a bit. I mean, with Dylan, we were rolling gold. We were in a good spot. I think we were in top 10 in the country office. And then true freshman, 18 years old, we got to go on the road. And so it's one of those things, we were learning him as he went. And so we added just a little bit. We tried to build around him. And, as the season went on and he had his best game in the bowl game, and we talked to him about, hey, we need you to make some plays with your feet on third and medium. That's a big thing. And he's done that this spring. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's just more confident, and he's made plays with his feet. We let our quarterbacks go live last scrimmage, every one of them. And it was really eye-opening. We found out a lot about our guys. And when you go live with you find out about your defense too. And so it was real football, and Mikey has done a really good job in that area.
I want to ask about a couple of the receivers, the rehab and recovery process for Jalen. When did he really kind of start to look like himself again? And then with Amari Johnson, it's going to be an expanded role for him, and what kind of role he's going to see him involved.
Are you talking about Flash?
Yes.
Yeah, crap. He looked 100% to me. I mean, did he?
What was the process of like?
Okay. Yeah, I got you. He took care of his body. Our medical team did a really good job. First of spring, he was feeling himself through, and all of a sudden he got confidence. He's had a great spring. I mean, he's practiced hard. He's done a super job with that. Omari is a guy that, he's really good around the line of scrimmage. We've been really working on down the field, and so he really did a good job in that area. And then O'Keefe. O'Keefe's one of the best players in college football with the ball in his hand. And, we know what we're going to get. We could have got him the ball and some other things and all that, but we know what we got. So we've got some true weapons at the wide receiver position.
Coach, about John Rice, he hadn't played quarterback for 18 months, coming into a new system. Was there a moment things clicked for him this spring? What was the development like, jumping into a new program?
Yeah, I think every day you saw him getting better. And he is the type that, man, if he didn't do great one practice, what do I need to worry? And he'll be after practice and all that. He's real hard on himself. And I bet if you talk to him, he'll be talking about what he needs to improve on. And that's a good thing. So, he made some really good throws today. And if we'd let him go live, it's hard to grab his flag sometimes.
That's all set.
All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Coach.